Our very own Phil Clark will be out there seeing his two former clubs battling it out for the World Crown. We'll be reporting in Sky Sports News, boots and all, next Thursday, next Friday, and the Saturday morning early prior to the kick-off.
I'll be all over Sydney looking for scoops and stories before the big game.
You certainly will. Good man. St Helens get the second half underway, and Warrington seeking a rare home win against St Helens, but also a landmark 250th weekly round victory for them since 1996, and they've got some work to do in the next 39.5 minutes if they're going to get to that mark.
They certainly have, and I'm sure that Tony Smith, the coach, had plenty to say at the break, mainly due to the fact that let's get the kicking. Oh, there's a charge down. It could be a try.
It could easily be a try, but that's a desperate and a wonderful tackle by Gareth O'Brien. And here come the Saints with Roby. But if they score right at the start of this second half, it'll be even more difficult, obviously, for Warrington to get back in this match. Soliola, he gets it away to Luke Walsh. Good run on the angle there by Walmsley. So close.
Tremendous run by the big fella.
Roby again, fires the pass. He's over the line. The try is scored. And Saints have got this. Referee's just checking, I think, that it was on the ground. Now he's not 100% sure. So he wants the grounding checking by our video referees.
Well, it's very similar to the one we had earlier, where is the ball down on the ground before the tackle's complete? Is the tackle complete short of the line? This is all to be revealed. We probably need a closer look than that. I don't think we're going to see anything from that angle. So hopefully our video referees will switch over. And the ball, well, that looks like it's on the ground. It's a ball carrying arm there. Does it hit the ground? I think you've probably got to say it does on that angle.
Soliola not guilty of lending weight there, Stuart, no. Pushing the man down to the ground.
As long as he doesn't interfere with one of the opposition tacklers, then he's allowed to do that. What he can't do is prevent someone from making the tackle. So providing the clear with that, and it looks like they are happy with that. I think that's the ball on the ground there, so I think this will be given.
Try to Saints, Anthony Lafranchi, the try scorer. It all came about as a result of that charge down. Gave St Helens glorious field position, and they took full advantage. And that could be a real killer blow. Lafranchi with the try.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get over that Tony Smith would have said at half-time there's two areas you've got to improve on. One is the kicking game, and it certainly didn't improve on there when Wilkin just palmed it down. Lafranchi gets in for the try. The other was, make sure your defence is solid. I'm afraid it wasn't yet again.
Well, that's twice now we've seen Warrington try-line defence unable to wrap up a ball, get bodies underneath it and stop a try. In the first half it was Kyler Moore. On this occasion, well, St Helens fans will remember their hooker Kieran Cunningham ploughing over from close range on many occasions. James Roby in this occasion gives it to Lafranchi, and he's able to bury below bodies and score a try that Warrington will think if they have a chance of going at that again, they should defend it better.
Well, I've lost count, Brian, the number of times you've said that, all of you tonight, that Warrington should be defending their goal line better than they are.
Well, the tries are weak, Eddie, I think, really. Chris Riley should have wrapped up the ball on Jordan Turner. I think on Kyler Moore, Roy Asatasi's taking his hands away too early. And they had plenty of men in front of Lafranchi on that occasion. They're relatively soft tries for a team that do work hard and pride themselves on the defence and have had a good defence in the last few years.
And when you throw in the charge down from Wilkin, it's done it well. They've done well, Warrington, to charge that down from Walsh.
It's 6 to go, though, for Saints, yes.
Yep.
Brian, I want to ask you about Luke Walsh, because I think I'm right in saying when you were at Newcastle Knights, Luke Walsh was just coming through, wasn't he? You'll have seen him as a young player. Strangely, him and Scott Durow of the Catalan Dragons, they were the understudies to Andrew Johns. Was it obvious then that this fellow was a talent?
Oh, he was. I don't think he would have been at the club if he didn't have a talent. They were very different players, Scott Durow. It's a delight to see how well they've gone. Scott's probably watching this game now with his Catalan Dragons teammates ahead of tomorrow night's game. But they were very different players. Luke Walsh was a very aggressive player. I think we haven't seen it really yet in this game, but he's got a bit of mongrel in him, a bit of terrier in him. St Helens, they'll know if going gets tough this season, that Luke Walsh will be a man that will stand up and be counted. He's only small, he's bulked up a bit since he was at Newcastle. Gets a lot of traffic coming his way, but does stand in the line and puts his jersey in the way.
Oh, and the ball has ricocheted everywhere.
Well, that was poor by Warrington. That really was poor. Again, nobody is shouting for that. Look at that. It hits Westwood. Joe Monaghan, he should have been screaming for that ball to take it, and very fortunate to come up with possession. They're all at sea.
Let's get down to Bill at half-time for the news.
Well, Eddie, it's going from bad to worse for the Warrington Wolves, because after that try, Glenn Riley, on debut tonight for the Wolves, was carried down the tunnel on the shoulders of a couple of the Wolves assistants, and Riley doesn't look as though he can play any further parts. He's in the middle of that, trying to stop Lafranchi, and as you can see, in a lot of pain as a result of that. He's gone down the tunnel, and that, in fact, was where I was talking to Lee Breers at half-time. As I was chatting to him, Lance Haya from the Saints camp came past, and he just looked at Lee and said, "Lee, they're missing you, mate." He wasn't wrong.
No, they are missing him, although they, of course, one man doesn't make a team. You know, Sam Tompkins didn't make Wigan the double winners, but they will miss him, and Warrington will certainly miss this fellow. And it's a big ask for someone to come into the side and replace him. But let's also not forget that Ratchford is playing full back tonight, and I think that he is the natural successor for number 6, isn't he?
Yeah, look, there's a long way to go, and I'm sure that they'll settle into it. But the biggest problem, as I say, the defence is poor, and the kicking game is shocking.
Mistake.
That's the error
here.
Alex Worms has some very good, strong parts to his game, but the play of the ball is one that I think he needs to address. Brian Carney pointed it out to me earlier in this game.
It's unique. There's absolutely no attempt to put his foot near the ball when he goes to play it. Well, there's a man. You talk about men they're missing. Is Luke Walsh the man to fill Sean Long's jersey? How many good times he's had in the St Helens jersey, and tortured and tormented the Warrington fans and delighted those St Helens fans.
Yes, he has tormented Warrington, delighted Saints fans. The Saints fans there, they saw him on the big screen and they gave him a right good cheer as well. Sean Long, one of the greats.
Well, you mentioned
great
Eddie,
players of Super League.
You mentioned Eddie, didn't you? You said that, you know, let's face it, fellas, that one man doesn't make a team. I tell you what, it helps when you're talking about Lee Breers and Sean Long, the likes of that. And this is where I'm being a disappointment with Michael Monaghan, the responsibility of the captain also. You know, he really has to just step up to the plate a little bit more.
Isn't Monaghan, though, naturally a gifted hooker, dummy half? He's not really a half-back, is he?
There's no difference between the two, Eddie. Not in this modern game.
Well, here comes James Laithwaite. Monaghan, Michael, that is, pointing and directing operations. O'Brien, that's a nice little dip through, but very well watched again by Gary Wheeler.
He's settling well as Wheeler. And the impressive thing about it, and I'm sure Nathan Brown, the Saints coach, will be so happy with the way that they've defended, the way they've took the ball up over the advantage line, but also they've already been away. We saw there Gary Wheeler going back to ensure stop the kick through. He also, in that first half, remember, Luke Walsh came back. You know, they are working so hard for each other, not only in defence, but also when they've got their ball.
Talk about one man not making a team. There's a fellow sat alongside Nathan Brown as well. Kieran Cunningham. Sean Long, Kieran Cunningham, Paul Sculthorpe. You know, what a team that was. But St Helens, they haven't had much success lately. Will this year be the year that Nathan Brown and Kieran, in his second year in charge, return Saints to their former glory? They won the last Super League title in 2006. They lost 5 grand finals in a row, 2007, 2011. Last trophy, 2008, Challenge Cup at Wembley. They also won the League Leaders' Shield for the 4th year in a row then. Nothing since. 6 long years. Is 2014 to be their year?
It could well be, Eddie, because you know what, it's very hard to get all your players to want to be your best defender, but it looks as though there's a competition amongst the St Helens players. Who can make the best tackle, who can make the quickest back into position, and then up to make the next one. And that really gives any team a chance. You know, when a team are losing, as Warrington are today, we look for a whole host of reasons and excuses, and we say it's because one of the old players, Lee Breers, has retired. Simply, they haven't been as committed as their opponents.
Well, we saw another very poor kick on this occasion. Gareth O'Brien is a lot better kicking than that. You know, they need to get it on the scoreboard just to lift their spirits, and surely they should have gone for a high one.
I predicted more Warrington tries early in the first half. I said I thought there'd be more Warrington tries in the game. If this defence from St Helens keeps up, Warrington won't cross the line again. It's ferocious. Every man is working inside and outside. Nobody's getting left isolated. And if they do fly up and make a tackle, they're sitting the Warrington men's on their backsides and forcing errors. This is great play from St Helens.
It is, and the opening 50 minutes or so of the season, and that doesn't make a season. One swallow doesn't make a summer. One victory doesn't turn a team into champions, but they are impressive tonight.
They certainly are, and Nathan Brown made it quite clear that they got off to a slow start last year. Remember, they got absolutely hammered by Huddersfield in the opening game. That's a beautiful kick. That's good work, though. He got back there, didn't he?
He was brave then, Laithwaite.
Was he ever?
He took a right clatter from Lomax. They're eager, the Saints. Asatazi is back.
Look at them getting out of the blocks, St Helens. So very quick. The one thing you've got to say is that St Helens look very, very fit indeed.
Myler.
They've just shut down everything that Warrington's thrown at them.
Michael Monaghan tips it on to Gareth O'Brien. Gareth O'Brien, of course, he saw 5 different clubs last year, including 7 in a row for St Helens. He was loaned out by Tony Smith to Nathan Brown. So he knows this Saints team.
Well, we're talking about St Helens' defence. You know, our performance indicator just shows us the 3 most relevant stats in rugby league. That tackle success is phenomenal. You know, a team would average usually about 94% at the end of the game. They are at 98% with their defence so far, and that's one of the reasons, clearly, why they've been so impressive to us for in the commentary box.
Ben Westwood went for a ball steal, then the ball came away from him. St Helens retained possession.
He worked hard
from Westwood, but Wilkin on the loose ball quickly. Here's another 40-20 possibility. The ball bounced the wrong way.
And that shows you the confidence that, oh, that's a high one again. Well, that's the 3rd we've seen from the Saints side. He likes to step, but I'm afraid Turner has made a big impact. He would have felt that. Well, this is going to be interesting.
I think the step is heavily involved in that. You might have caught the referee saying it. That's why maybe it's different from some of the other ones that we've highlighted tonight, where it's sort of square on and somebody gets hit on the Adam's apple. You got a bit of a problem with that. When there's a step involved, you can see somebody hanging their arm out, and a sending off would be difficult in those circumstances.
Brian, I'm going to pose a question to you. First tackle, Luke Walsh goes for a 40-20. That's confidence in the player.
Well, yeah, confidence in his team and his own ability as well. There's 2 things there.
Michael Monaghan has come up with another error just inside the Saints half. He dropped the ball, and St Helens have gathered it in gleefully and gratefully.
But look how easy St Helens are getting over the advantage line. Warrington's defence are starting to move up, and then halfway through they decide to wait and see what they're going to do. You can't do that. You're going to be absolutely taken apart.
Great ball from Lomax. Here is this young man, Swift, good on his feet. Close season surgery to correct a foot problem for Adam Swift. There is Walsh again. Here is Amor. He's already scored on his debut for Saints tonight in the Super League. Roby waits. Roby will have a scamper on his knees, then he gives it to Wilkin. Wilkin then gets the ball away to Wheeler again. They can't let Wheeler run with it. They do. He finds Wilkin once more. Wilkin then to Lafranchi. And Lafranchi, there was 2 in the tackle. It's a penalty to Saints underneath the sticks.
Warrington will tap this. No doubt about it. It was ripped out.
I wouldn't kick this. Just that's it. Drive it in.
Yeah.
They will with Amor.
They want to give them more punishment. They're hurt in Warrington, I'll tell you.
Roby to Walsh. Walsh then to Wheeler. Well, there's a high one now. Tit for tat. And Waterhouse got that wrong.
Well, Waterhouse is probably working on the principle. No one's been sent off yet, so I may as well have a dig. It was high. Sheer frustration. they've never really got started. After 90 seconds, when they scored the first try, when Joe Monaghan went over in that right-hand corner, they have just been outplayed in every single department.
This is Josh Jones now. And Roby again is scheming on his toes, goes right to Walsh. Walsh then not the best pass, his first bad pass of the night. Gratefully dropped on by Ryan Atkins.
Yeah, that's the first sign of negativity we've seen from the former Penrith player Luke Walsh.
Well done, Atkins. He insisted there the referee had to give him a penalty because Jordan Turner wouldn't let him get to his feet. He demanded the penalty. It came. So here come Warrington now. Can they give us a rousing finish a la Saints all those years ago?
Can they get the forwards going over that advantage, get them into a position where they can utilise? I mean, you look at this Warrington three-quarter line. You know, the likes of Riley, Bridge, Atkins, Joe Monaghan. It's top quality.
Here they come. Here they come with Monaghan. Well done, Adam Swift. Showed him the touchline. He had to come inside. Swift and Percival dealt with the threat. This is Bridge. Bridge then to Westwood. Takes the ball back off Benny Westwood. Chris Bridge. Down he goes on tackle number 4. Right underneath the St Helens sticks. It's with Westwood!
He's lost it.
So close to the line. And another so close to the line. Great goal line defence from St Helens.
Well, it went for broke, went on the power play. I thought he'd lost it there, Westwood. Percival was going underneath him. He lost control there, but he got it back from Percival. Either way, Saints have got it.
Stuart, that was a strange one, wasn't it? I mean, if he did play it into the body of Percival, it was a knock-on. If it wasn't, it might have been a penalty. It was certainly could have been 6 to go.
It could have been, but I think his hand was just on top of the ball, so it's difficult to say that he actually lost possession. You know, if he'd gone over, I'm certain the video referee would have had a lot of scrutiny on that incident.
Yeah, we could have been here all night for that one.
We could have.
He didn't, so we're not. And at 56 minutes on the clock, St Helens still have this game in their pocket. Here's McCarthy Scarsbrook again. Walsh and Wilkin. Wilkin gets the pass out wide, not the best. John Wilkin, who is the chairman of the Rugby League Players Association. You might notice that some of us on Sky Sports are wearing the Prostate Cancer UK pin badges at the start of this season. The Rugby League Players Association have signed up to the Men United campaign, along with several other leading Super League stars, and we at Sky Sports in the Rugby League department delighted to support that charity, and we're flying the colours for them in 2014 at the start of the season.
A worthy cause, Eddie. I was going to compliment St Helens' attack. On that occasion, not great from John Wilkin, but the energy they're showing in attack after putting in such a good shift in defence is particularly impressive. A team might be forgiven for resting and putting their hands on their hips after defending so well and with so much enthusiasm, but not St Helens. They're getting into shape very quickly, and it's causing Warrington Wolves untold problems.
Here now is Nicky Hine. That's a good scampering little run, but the options were cut down, and Willie Manu got to him eventually. Chris Hill and Myler will hoist it wide, looking for Monaghan again. Monaghan claims it, ball goes to ground, Saints have it back. Oh, ball's dropped. It was one-on-one with Briggs. It's going to be 6 to go. They're going to be allowed to play on.
Certainly is. But it was a good kick. It looked as though Joe Monaghan got a fingertip to it.
Bridge got a little hand on as the number 24 Wheeler was trying to make his way forward. Hence the decision from the referee for play on, and that's why Saints have got it here with Kyle Moore. Roby.
Again and again, quality play there. I've been impressed with Kyle Moore. He's worked hard, as all the St Helens players have. It's completely different in the forwards. They pulverise the opposition.
Manu goes down, tackle number 4, Roby. Walsh pops it up. McCarthy Scarsbrook, good feet, good pass too to Lomax. Good job that Hill was there.
Will it be a high one from Walsh? No, they've gone the short blind, they've gone the power play, and they've made a right meal of it.
Yes, Jordan Turner was looking for Makinson with a quick hands.
This will be the turnover. Not the best.
I can't remember going to many Warrington games where the Wolves were beaten in less than an hour, but I think that's been the case here tonight. You know, the St Helens side started last season by losing by 40 points to 4. They could easily start this season by winning by 40 points to 4 because the defence has looked impregnable now since that opening try they conceded. And they do look here with the go forward, whether it be through Roby or any of the forwards coming onto the field. They've got control in the middle and excellent, exciting backs who are enjoying the speed of the play of the ball that Saints have had tonight.
World Cup challenge looms for Wigan on the 22nd of February. That's Saturday week, and we'll have a special documentary programme later in the year for you, where we are on board with the Wigan Warriors and their trip to the Sydney Roosters. Phil Clark will feature heavily in that. It's a long way to go for a game of rugby league, Phil, but you're happy to slum it up front in the jumbo or whatever it is you're going to be flying in?
It's important if Wigan, repeat the history of 20 years ago when they beat the Brisbane Broncos. It's important that Sky Sports have got somebody there on the ground capturing all the stories and relaying back to Brian Carney in the studio in London the atmosphere and the happiness amongst the Wigan supporters and playing staff.
Well, at least you got the long straw. I wasn't even offered one.
Well, you've only just come back from there. The borders are closed as far as you're concerned. Forward pass.
Yeah, it was just a nod from the touch judge on this side, but again, the ease that St Helens have run from dummy half. And
He did a great play though, Steve-o, isn't it? He didn't tuck the ball under his arm and just go and take tackle. He's gone out there. Stuart Pearce, I'm sure, is here as a guest of the Warrington Wolves in a relationship with Tony Smith, exchanging ideas. But he'll see Tony Smith's side tonight being taken apart really by St Helens. I'll go back to the point I was making about Swift's little run and pass. They're willing and trying to move this Warrington Wolves side around. I think Tony Smith will be pretty magnanimous if this result stays the way it is now and St Helens' performance doesn't dip. He'll take his hat off to what has been a great performance from Nathan Brown's men.
you talk about the Saints' defence, Eddie, and most importantly is that someone inevitably is going down for the legs. Another one is coming in at least to prevent the offload. We've seen very few offloads from Warrington.
This is Asutazi. Hyam for Warrington. Gets the ball away to O'Brien. O'Brien then to Myler. He drifts the kick over the top. And that's very easy indeed. And Atkins a little grimace. As Makinson, I think it was, who picked that ball out of the air.
Yeah, and good position as well by Tom Makinson. That's another thing that Nathan Brown will be happy about, is that very few of the Saints defenders have actually come out of their line.
What a fabulous pickup that was from Mark Percival. Let's pick up Bill now.
Eddie, Saints just about to bring Paul Wellens on, but it's a bit of a mystery as to who's come off, because they have got one or two players nursing bangs, and I think Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook is one of them, and he picked up a bang when he delivered that really sweet pass, that last Saints attack. He took a real bang on the thigh, I think, and he's hobbling around at the moment. He's insisting he's going to carry on, but I'm not exactly sure how long they're going to keep him out there.
Yes, he's way back, as that chase from the kick was led actually by Paul Wellens.
And what a chase, Eddie. That's a sign, that's what a coach will look at to see if his team playing with energy. And that chase you referred to that was led by Paul Wellens after the kick was exceptional. Shows this St Helens side, they're buzzing, they got plenty of energy left in them. If they make mistakes like that or concede balls or penalties like Louis McCarthy has done on that occasion, they're able and willing to defend them. They've shown us in this game that they can do that. And they'll continue to do that, I'm sure, for the next 18 minutes.
62 minutes, and the captain, Paul Wellens, comes off the bench. First time he has appeared in the match tonight.
It's a great luxury, isn't it, for Nathan Brown, in as much that, you know, Johnny Lomaxon started to pull back, bring on Paul Wellens. If it's not working in the three quarters of the two half-back lines, Lomax could go and partner Luke Walsh. It's mouth-watering, isn't it, for this season?
Ratchford doing his best to try and pierce this solid St Helens defence. Warrington have only punctured it once. Hyam now. And Hyam, that's a lovely run. A lovely drop of the shoulder. Scrambling defence by Lomax. Quick play of the ball. Atkins, ball comes free. Saints have survived. Josh Jones runs it out. That deserved the try, the run from Hyam. This deserves a penalty from Phil Bentham, and it's given.
Yeah, Richie Myler not standing square. It was a pass to nowhere in many ways. Good work by Josh Jones to put it through, and they can see they're messing around. It's been frustrating. I have never seen a game where Warrington have struggled with the three-quarter line.
Well, I think they've been strangled, really, Steve-O. Johnny Lomax is his ability to get across and stop Mickey Hyam. You're right, Eddie. It was a great break from Hyam, but Lomax as a fullback, one of his first jobs is in defence. He's come across, cut down Mickey Hyam, and then jumped up off the ground, and from marker was able to disrupt Ryan Atkins and stop him from progressing any further. Brilliant fullback performance from the man in the #1 jersey for St Helens.
Remember, the Saints have still got Mosi Masoi to come in, and Richard Beaumont from ex-Hull Kingston Rovers. They are out of the side tonight. Masoi with injury. Beaumont probably via selection. They've built a good squad this year, the Saints.
Well, they've got power in the forwards, and they've certainly got talent, and youthful talent as well.
And they've got this fellow Walsh.
He's been
just could be the key, couldn't he?
Yeah. A lot of people, including myself, could have been the last piece of the jigsaw they were looking for.
That was Lee Breers-esque, that, a crossfield kick.
It was well taken, wasn't it?
Angle kick from one side of the field underneath the posts. Hyam for Warrington.
Yeah, give them plenty of time to apply the pressure. But this is where they've just absolutely been eaten up by this St Helens defence. They just can't get over that advantage line. The work at the first and second markers from St Helens has been outstanding. Look at that.
The challenges are thunderous from Saints.
And again, you can see time and time again, one goes low. At least one goes to try to snuffle. Make sure there's no offload. Good positioning there by the winger, Makinson.
That was brilliant, Steve-O. Johnny Lomax was on the ground at the other end of the field. He collided with Roy Asatasi and gingerly got him off the ground. Was brought to put into the wing position on the right-hand side so the physio could treat him. So he's out of play. On that occasion, Tommy Makinson, he went and covered for Johnny Lomax, kept himself in that position and was there to field the kick. Brilliant awareness.
Here goes Roby. Lomax is with him. Lomax gets it. Warrington can't put him down. Roby tries to spin. Rashford gets there in the end. And Roby wants to get on with it, does so in the end to Soliola. Here is Luke Walsh. Walsh over the top. Wheeler is trapped by Joel Monaghan. Good defence, scrambling defence from Warrington. And the ball, I think, has come free. It has. Knock on.
Tremendous work by James Roby. And that's good defence. You've got to give it a lot of credit. They came back. You know, with the scoreline at 26-4. Quite often a team can just let their heads drop down, but you've got to give them credit. Warrington, they're fighting as hard as they can. They've just come up against a far better side.
I just caught out the corner of my eye then. Joel Monaghan was giving somebody in that Warrington defence the rounds of the kitchen. He really was. He was furious that Roby was allowed to make this sort of progress.
Well, he made Richie Myler look very ordinary, didn't he? I'm not so sure that was the best attempt to try to put down Johnny Lomax either. You're right, Eddie. You mentioned that Tony Smith has got a lot to do with this outfit. Defence, kicking game. There are only two problems he's going to overcome.
Well, we're 12 minutes or thereabouts from the end of this opening match for the Warrington Wolves. And what a start to Super League 19. The grand finalists of 2013 have both lost on the opening weekend.
And if you look back over their history books, you know it's not often that a team will lose the first game and then recover to go on and win the grand final. I think Bradford were the last side to do it back in 2005. I guess we attach a lot of significance to the result in week one. It's still only 2 points, Eddie, whether you win or lose. But having waited for 3 months, the supporters and the viewers at home, well, maybe it does set the tone for what you think will happen for the rest of the year.
Oh, that's not a bad kick, and it's turned out. It's come up for them. Touchdown for Warrington. Second try for Joel Monaghan, given by Phil Bentham. The kick looked absolutely nothing, and the next thing, you collides with the post. It bounces back kindly for Warrington and Monaghan. Well, there was a choice of two players on this right-hand side. The ball was ferried into the arms of Joel Monaghan, and the try is given. O'Brien's high kick looked like it was going absolutely nowhere. Then look, bang, off the top of the post. Pad.
Right off the pad, it's a simple try. And I think everybody in the ground said that's another poor kick. But that's how rugby league, it can turn for you. But it's sheer consolation.
And Gareth O'Brien will say he was aiming for that.
Well, it was a kick. He was able to put the kick under no pressure. Phil Clark spoke before the game about a kick in the grand final last year. It was charged down, a Matty Smith kick, and a ball bounced back into his hands. Well, that's what can happen sometimes in rugby league. The ball lands on top of the post protected. There's very little you can do. It's in the lap of the gods, really. Gareth O'Brien followed up his kick and ended up passing the ball out to Joel Monaghan. See if he can tag on too.
Good to see Gareth O'Brien back and playing this year. Remember, while he was out on loan, he was given he misses with the kick there, by the way, but while he was out on loan, he was given a few high shots, wasn't he, to say the least. His marbles must have been rattling, and I think in the end Tony Smith recalled him to Warrington and sat him down and allowed him to see the season out, because he really was. He played for Nathan Brown at Saints, and he went elsewhere as well, and he got absolutely cleaned out on occasions.
Yeah, and you've got to give him credit is the fact that, okay, as soon as it left his boot, Gareth O'Brien knew it wasn't a good kick. So what did he do? He didn't stand back. He at least went forward and put himself in a position so he could create a try, the second try for Joel Monaghan. But as I said, it means nothing to the result of this game.
No, well, they've also missed with both of the kicks, Warrington. Here comes Asutazi. Wellens, Soliola and Roby do the job on him. This is Ratchford. We look forward to seeing Ratchford operating alongside Myler when Matty Russell is fit to resume. He injured an ankle twice in the pre-season warm weather camp in Australia, did Matty Russell, so he came back from that injured. Down to Bill.
Yeah, the injury news from the Warrington camp isn't good either, because Glenn Riley, who we saw come off as he was trying to stop one of those Saints tries earlier on, has re-emerged from the dressing room with his right leg in a brace. It looks like a knee problem. We saw Lon Patrick go off last week for the Giants in their opening game of the season. Riley looks as though he's picked up a nasty knee injury as well.
Another high hanging kick from O'Brien. This time Makinson's underneath it. Makinson trying to return with interest, but Riley gets the tackle in.
The one thing that
Turner with a mistake.
Right, let's see if they're willing to defend this now. They have all game been able to make a mistake, concede a penalty, then get back and defend it, work for each other and defend it. Let's see now, with 9 minutes to go, whether they've got the enthusiasm to say as a team, no more tries for Warrington Wolves. We're going to send them home with scoring only 8 in front of their home crowd, and we're going to yet again come here to Halliwell Jones Stadium and come away with a victory.
Well, that was a typical...
Turner's got a belt in the eye, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was a typical example of a man just taking his eye off the ball, looking to see what's the oncoming traffic. But, you know, I haven't been able to spot a poor player, an average player for St. Helens. They have played magnificently tonight.
Yes, they have. It's been a great team effort. Here come Warrington, though, looking to finish on a high, give themselves something to take into next week. Laithwaite dumped to the ground, though, by Willie Manu. Well, that's 2 of the 6 defended. Here comes Hill. Now it's with Hyam again. Here is Myler. Myler gives it wide to Atkins. Atkins leapfrogs one and gives the ball away. And Gary Wheeler gratefully picks that loose ball up.
Well, you can't help it with that score, and then they know the game's over. At least trying to build their confidence. It's been a hard night for them. But everything that they've tried to offload is... but the way that this defence has harassed Warrington, it's all been forced, hasn't it? Anything that Warrington does, they've had to struggle. This ability of St. Helens, oh, he's got the speed, this fella.
He has. Makinson's quick. Makinson's quick. Monaghan comes across, that's Joel to bring him down. Here's Turner. Turner then to Walsh. Long looping pass to Lomax. Lomax to the ground. And it's picked up gratefully. It's Percival, there's Swift, they're in. Helen Swift, not given yet. Another little test. Stewart and the video referees.
Yes, I think they're asking to check whether it was touching goal. That means he didn't touch the touch line, but the line, the other side of the corner flag in the in-goal area. That's the touching goal line. It was a clean pick-up. He's managed to get away. There's no knock-on in that situation. And I think that's grounded cleanly. I think the touch is concerned about his hand that splayed out after it hit the ground. But I think it's fairly clear there.
Don't think this will be long in coming. Try for St Helens.
And no problem.
Adam Swift.
No problems at all. He got in at the corner. Good work by Percival. But watch this pass from Luke Walsh. He misses out two people. Johnny Lomax. The combination between Lomax chiming in from the fullback position with the wonderful passing of Luke Walsh will be a highlight of this season. He's had a wow of a game. It wasn't the best pass. Percival did well. Sucks in the player, gets in the corner. Nothing that Ratchford can do about that.
So here comes Luke Walsh, and so far he has been faultless with the boot. 5 from 5. This is a tester. This will test him. About a metre and a half maybe in from touch on the left-hand side. He is a right-footed kicker though, so maybe he can draw it over the top of the bar. In the context of the match it matters little, but for Luke Walsh it matters a lot. And that's why he has kicked it. Brilliant kick from Luke Walsh. Brilliant performance from St Helens. 32-8. Remember what happened 12 months ago. They were taken to the cleaners by Huddersfield. Tonight, it's a totally different story.
Tremendous long pass out there. Throughout this game, the confidence between Lomax chiming in and Luke Walsh's passing has been outstanding. I've plenty to choose from when it comes to the man of the match, but I think anybody that understands anything about rugby league will know that the man of the match perhaps will have a number 7 on his back.
I think St Helens have physically punished their opponents, Eddie, and that last try to me came as a result of the pain that St Helens have put Warrington through over the course of the game. Fatigue was setting in, they were dropping off tackles, not getting up into space, and nice pass from Percival to put in Swift in the corner. But again, look, a quick drive. Physically, they've not been able to handle the ball carriers, and that's what happens when you concede a penalty as a result.
Yes, not the best start for Warrington. Head-to-head between the two coaches, great pals. 11 wins to Tony Smith, 5 to Nathan Brown from 16 previous encounters. The ledger not exactly squared, but has got another tick in the box against the name of Nathan Brown. 5 to go. No coming back here for Warrington now. Saints will go home with the points. Very impressive. Look at this. Look at this. Percival. Oh, he lost it. Did he? Yes, he did.
Knock on, yeah. But again, an impressive break. They're breaching the advantage line time and time again.
They're quick, aren't they?
Yeah, and not only that, Eddie, as I mentioned, you know, Johnny Lomax is going to have one heck of a season with this Luke Walsh out there. And when you throw into the equation the way that Gary Wheeler is stepping, confuses any defence. Well, if Nathan Brown doesn't have a huge smile at the end of this game, my hair will grow back, because it has been an outstanding tactical victory. And the way that, as I've said time and time again, one goal low, at least one or even two, stop the offloads.
And yet the way Warrington started, they were breathtaking, weren't they?
Sometimes see that, don't you? An early try and then things not quite work out that way. It was a brilliant first try, you know, superb skill, but at the moment, Eddie, this puts them in the relegation zone. With the points difference as it is.
Yes. Yes. We have to remember we're not only looking upwards this year, we're looking... Oh, that's a gift! Luke Walsh will crown his Super League debut with the last try. He was toying then with Ratchford. Luke Walsh. It was a gift. He was loitering with intent, and he just picked it up like taking candy from a baby. And Luke Walsh, well, I think that'll clinch it. I think he will be the man of the match, don't you?
Yes, simple. He certainly was loitering, as you say, with intent. And we said before the game that perhaps it might take him a little while, Luke Walsh, to settle into Super League style football. It took him about 3 or 4 minutes.
Mike Rush enjoyed that. A little more restrained from the coaching staff. But Mike Rush is a big fan of the Saints, isn't he?
Yeah, but
as well as being the CEO.
It's nice to know when your coaching staff have selected and purchased a man of this quality. And he has got that.
Well, I think he's kicked 6 goals. He's now scored a try, and this will be for 7 goals. Not a bad haul on your first night in the Super League. The St Helens fans are staying to the bitter end. The Warrington fans have, in the end, headed for home. Walsh, it's 7 from 7. And it's a 5-star display from St Helens tonight. 38 points to 8. What a difference a year makes.
And what a difference one man makes, because his kicking game in general play, remember the 40-20, which to my mind, Phil, you may be able to jog my memory, but I think that's one of the longest 40-20s that we've seen in Super League.
Certainly looked that way, didn't it? It was just inside the 40, but on a pitch like this, heavier than it is in the summertime, to get that distance and the bounce and roll, fantastic play, wasn't it, for them? But I know we're focusing on the brilliance of that, but runs like that from warms the idea of what have won this game, in my opinion. Runs like that and the defence, they've been more aggressive. You know, last season when they lost by 40 points to 4, they missed too many tackles. It wasn't because of any tactical brilliance. They've been committed, and they've certainly got themselves up for this game. In a way, this looked like a match that St Helens had to win. And yet for Warrington, well, to me, it looked more like an opposed training session. They weren't desperate with anything they had to do early on. And now, look, the Saints are just toying with them. I mean, you go back to 12 months, the weekend they played at the Manchester City's home ground, the Etihad Stadium, Warrington absolutely blew St Helens off the park. It wasn't a fair contest. And yet, in less than 12 months here, St Helens have really lifted their game.
They have, and they're running. I know if you've got a 38-8 scoreline in your favour as you enter the last minute, you will be running a little bit stronger than your opposition, but they're running as strong here as if it was the 8th minute, never mind the 79th minute. And Wilkie just dumps that into touch.
I suppose a lot of people forget that James Roby only played half of the season for St Helens last year. That was, I mean, you put him in twice as many games and they're 1 or 2 places higher up the league. You need to keep your best players fit and healthy on the field, and if they do that, well, Steve-O might be right. It could be the year of the Saints.
Well, I don't think any of the players are particularly interested in getting this scrum formed. 7 seconds to go. The referee wants it to be fed in. It is now. We're just a couple of seconds away from the end of the match, and that will do. It has been impressive from St Helens. For 2 minutes, Warrington were on the front foot. For their next 78, it was virtually one-way traffic. Monaghan's try inside the opening 2 minutes of the half, 4-0. Then Makinson, Roby, Amor, 3 tries in 6 minutes. Walsh with the penalty, 4 points to 20 at half-time. Lafranchi's try right at the start of the second half just about sealed it, really. Monaghan got the try to bring them back to 26 points to 8. And then the last 5 minutes, 2 tries, 1 from Swift and 1 from Luke Walsh, taking his personal tally to 18 points in the match. And there he is, the man of the match, the man of the moment for Saints. Luke Walsh is with Bill.
Thanks, Eddie. Luke's just still adding up, in fact. It is 7 goals and a try. Not bad on your debut.
Yeah, it was a pretty good performance by everyone, I thought. Second half was a little bit scrappy, with something to work on next week.
But for you, I mean, possibly even an experienced player is a bit apprehensive about his debut, especially in a different competition. So that's a pretty good night.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. Just still getting used to the weather and the conditions of the ground and that, but I thought it was, for my first go, I thought it was a good performance.
There was definitely some spite in the Saints tackling tonight, wasn't there?
Yeah, our defence was pretty good in the first half. As I said, a bit scrappy in the second half, but boys dug deep and it's a good win.
I mean, you weren't here, but last season Saints got hammered in the opening round of the season. Was that mentioned at all tonight? You're not going to suffer that fate.
A few of the boys mentioned it, but we've got a totally different side now. We've got some good players in this club, and I thought it was a real good team performance.
You've certainly set the platform now. This is going to be a hard one to follow, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a couple of injuries out of that, so it's going to be tough next week.
What about the celebration? You certainly enjoyed that try, didn't you? You seem to be getting on with the Saints fans.
Yeah, I love it. They come out and support us. And, I've never experienced anything like this before, so hopefully they keep coming out and supporting us.
It's a bit different, isn't it?
It's very different to back home. Yeah, I love it. It's enjoying it.
Well done tonight, Luke. You're the man of the match.
Cheers, thank you very much.
Let's join Brian and John Wells.
Used to the weather and getting used to the cold, I'm sure. He does look cold. Look, it was a bad first 40 minutes for the Warrington Wolves. They trailed 20 points to 4, and that bad first half became even worse.